I share this with all the journalists who report the facts and who value the truth above all. In my haste to break a major story, I neglected to perform my due diligence. I have resigned my position here at the...
Can a dictator be redeemed? Can a lawyer become a bodyguard? Can a fallen journalist reclaim her credibility? These are some of the questions this movie asks, and some of them I will address. Hi there, it's Micha. If you are curious now, then join me for this review video. Mason Pettits was never happy working as a lawyer, but found his true calling by joining the US Army Special Forces. However, on a mission to take out the dictator of Paldonia, a small South American country, his chopper is shot down, killing half of his team and leaving him with an injury that forces him to resign active duty. For years he struggled to adjust to civilian life, when an old army buddy who founded a successful private security firm makes him an offer he can't refuse. Being the bodyguard of journalist Claire Wellington, who is interviewing, you guessed it, President Venegas, the dictator of Paldonia. What was meant to be a simple job soon turns into a real shit show, when a military coup is carried out that has Mason and Claire running for their lives, where they surprisingly find themselves also in the company of El Presidente, which understandably doesn't sit well with Mason. While the reluctant trio of companions journey through dangerous jungle terrain, they start to find some common ground and realize that certain preconceived notions about each other were not based on facts, but on a false narrative fed to them. When foreign mercenaries also enter the scene, the heat is truly on. Who will survive and how will it all end? Well, let's stop the synopsis here. I will try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, but I will need to touch on some further aspects to do a proper review. I was really looking forward to watch this movie when I saw the trailer. It looked promising and I truly liked the cast. I haven't watched Narcos yet, so I'm not really familiar with Juan Pablo Rabat. But come on, with John Cena and Alison Brie in the lead and Alice Eve and Christian Slater in supporting roles, what is not to like? However, I tuned down my expectations after there was not much buzz around it once it premiered, which is why it took me a while to actually watch this one. And with lowered expectations, I wasn't disappointed, though I also wasn't impressed with what was presented on screen. Let's start with the main issue, at least in my eyes, and that is the topic of the movie, which is a coup attempt and the depiction of President Venegas. While the writers made the admittedly clever choice to have the putsch being instigated by the dictator's nephew rather than rebels, allowing Mason to kill the attacking forces, it didn't change the big issue at the story's core. It in essence downplays the act of a dictator as being a misunderstood hero. Here's the deal. It transpires that Venegas is currently under attack because he doesn't want to make deals with other countries' leaders, allowing them to exploit Paldonia's natural resources.
In my fist are lanthanides, rare earth metals that are the core component for every new technology.
Instead, he wants his fellow citizens to profit from it, and he actually plans to turn his country into a democracy. However, he was a dictator for years, exploiting his people, and even if he is still beloved in his home village and now has good intentions, that doesn't change that fact. So the movie, intentionally or not, is excusing his past, which is already putting stress on our moral center. But on top of that, we may have seen many heroes turn into malevolent dictators, but malevolent dictators turning into heroes? In reality, that happened, let me check. Ah, here it is. Never! So the whole story feels weird throughout. There are some twists and turns, some are welcome, others don't really make sense, and some things are just too constructed to hit the mark. Some quick examples. If he hates being a lawyer, why return to his job? I guess the army could have also offered him a desk job, which is closer to his passion. Or he could just have gotten into private security earlier, as apparently his injury didn't stop him from taking on his current mission.
Not interested.
20 grand says you are.
He was mainly accepting because he was offered a nice payday, which I guess was due to him potentially being sued by a parent after giving his daughter the worst possible advice on how to deal with unwanted attention by a boy of her age.
Tell you what, the next time he tries to kiss you, hit him in the throat. You know what the throat is?
I'm not an idiot.
Just hit him in the Adam's apple. All boys have them.
Why not use your words first? And after that there are still some other steps one could take. That was also the straw that broke the camel's back regarding his wife's goodwill, as she kicked him out. Which touches on the other big weak spot.
You think I don't know how unhappy you are being just a husband and a father? Imagine what it feels like to be me, knowing that I'm the life you settled for.
He doesn't even counter that, so I guess he kinda agrees. His relationship to his wife was so underdeveloped that we didn't know what to feel about that at this point. Was she right or just pissed? Did that happen before? Was her kicking him out something new? Was there a way back? One thing the movie did well though is not following the usual trope we expected, meaning him hooking up with Alison Brie's character. Of course she came onto him, there the trope was alive, but he remained faithful even though
We were on a break! We were on a break! We were on a break!
And that was a real strong feat, because besides being a great actor and comedian, Alison is also strikingly beautiful and puts on her best seduction spiel. So double kudos for him staying on the straight and narrow.
Look at that, Mr. Pettits.
However, as we know next to nothing about his relationship to his wife, this act was a bit wasted. Of course, just seeing him on TV as a hero was enough for her to take him back. Again, no insights if there was more than that. Alice Eve was truly wasted in that role. Would be interesting if there are deleted scenes fleshing her part out some more, but as is, the screenplay didn't give her much to work with, turning her character into the most one-dimensional stereotype imaginable. Then there is his army buddy, who thought he would do Mason a favor with his job, expecting him to kill the perceived villain, which was the overall intention, but didn't share that fact. Mason might have even done it, would he have been in on it, at least in the beginning, which would have sufficed. One last point of criticism. Even some action sequences looked a bit boring. There is a series of scenes where they are chased through the jungle, basically running in a straight line, with things exploding left and right, with hundreds of bullets flying, yet there is never any feeling of actual danger or emergency. Well, I highlighted a lot of this film's weaknesses. It doesn't mean though that this is a total dud. As mentioned in the beginning, I pretty much expected a movie with some trade-offs. The starring trio did a solid job with what they were given and created some charming moments, but as mentioned before, with that tricky main plot point, the movie never really had a chance to be a winner. At least I was entertained during its runtime and didn't fall asleep. Something I can't say about my sister, with whom I watched this one. She was very tired though, but still. And with that being said, let's get to the rating. Another tough one to rate. I really wanted to like this one due to the talent involved, but there were those issues I highlighted. There were also some scenes that were dragging on a little bit too long, but nothing too extensive. I was entertained to a certain degree, but felt a bit disappointed too, because once more, with a better screenplay and a different take on the main plot, it could have been a much better end product. I'm rating this one with 6 out of 10 points, after struggling a bit, thinking about just going to a 5. Wouldn't it have been for the star power of the leads, it would have been just that. So keep that in mind in case you don't have a soft spot for John Cena and Alison Brie. What about you? Do you like the cast of this movie? Would this big plot issue be a reason for you to pass on this film? Whatever you like to share, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, share or subscribe. So much for now, see you next time and thanks for watching. When an old army buddy who found instead he wants his fellow citizens to profit. We may have seen many heroes turn into malevolent. Why not use words first? The starring trio did a solid job with what they were given and created some